Welcome to today's Explainer. I am absolutely pumped to take you through a transformation that can, quite literally, completely reshape a manufacturing business. We're talking about taking a local producer, maybe you're making world-class ceramics, or, say, high-quality jute bags, and elevating you into a global export powerhouse. If you're an entrepreneur or a manufacturer right now, the potential waiting for you outside your domestic borders is massive. And today, we're going to break down exactly how you can capture it.
But that brings us to the ultimate hurdle, doesn't it? How do you actually find genuine international buyers? Honestly, it's the single most critical question in global trade. Because let's face it, in today's fiercely competitive global market, just having a fantastic product, it simply isn't enough anymore. Buyers have countless sourcing options from places like China, Vietnam, India, and Turkey. So if you want to stand out and win their business, you absolutely need a highly strategic, structured approach.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Think of this roadmap as your heroic quest to secure international buyers. We'll be hitting 5 key milestones. First, the global export opportunity. Second, essential documents and certifications. Third, building a digital presence. Fourth, bridging gaps with consultants. And finally, converting inquiries into orders.
So let's kick things off with Section 1, the global export opportunity.
Before we get into the how, we really need to grasp the sheer scale of the why. And that starts with a big number, 200 plus. That is the number of countries and territories that Bangladeshi products are currently exported to. We aren't just talking about ready-made garments anymore either. We're looking at a huge diversification into leather, pharmaceuticals, ceramics, agro-processed foods, and even IT services. The world is buying, and they're eagerly looking for diverse, high-quality goods from emerging manufacturing hubs.
So why take the export leap? Well, exporting unlocks significantly larger markets and, frankly, much higher profit margins. Plus, it spreads out your business risks away from just relying on domestic markets, and it brings in that highly valuable foreign currency. Think about this for a second. A single international buyer can easily drop purchase orders that completely dwarf the annual sales of dozens of domestic customers combined. That right there, that is the ultimate call to adventure for any ambitious entrepreneur.
Moving right along to Section 2, essential documents and certifications.
Now I know, paperwork usually sounds like boring bureaucracy, but you need to completely reframe this in your mind. This isn't red tape. This is the essential armor you need to win buyer trust. Here's what your export arsenal actually needs to look like. You've got to have your tax documentation and export registration in flawless order. You need accurate HS codes for your products and robust quality certifications. Think ISO, HACCP, or GMP, depending on your specific industry. Oh, and you also need a rock-solid grasp of Incoterms, those crucial international shipping rules, along with your banking facilities. So, the crucial point here is that modern buyers demand international compliance to lower their own sourcing risks before they even glance at your prices. If your armor isn't strapped on tight, you're not even in the fight. Let's contrast two very different approaches here. Picture an unprepared exporter. They lack verifiable credentials, they drag their feet providing banking or tax docs, and boom, they lose buyer trust immediately. Now look at the export-ready manufacturer. They're proactive, their certifications are ready to send on day one, they show immediate operational readiness, and guess what? They win the deal. Finding buyers is really only half the battle. Actually converting them requires deep, foundational preparation on your end. All right, let's jump into Section 3, building a digital presence. If your documents are your armor, your digital footprint is the beacon that attracts those international buyers to your doorstep in the first place. Your website literally functions as your 24-hour digital showroom. Nowadays, almost every single international buyer researches suppliers online before they even think about making direct contact. If your website is outdated, if it isn't perfectly mobile-friendly, or if it's missing high-quality product catalogs and maybe virtual factory tours, that buyer is just going to click away and go straight to your competitor. Your digital presence is a direct, undeniable reflection of your manufacturing credibility. Let's move to and see how this builds step by step, because it really requires a deliberate digital evolution. Step 1, establishing that professional, secure, and mobile-friendly website. Step 2 is SEO, search engine optimization, so that when a buyer in, say, Europe Googles jute bag supplier, you actually show up on the first page. Step 3 is keeping consistent, updated listings on major B2B marketplaces. And finally, Step 4 is strategic LinkedIn networking, where you're actively connecting with the actual procurement directors. It's a calculated evolution from just a simple web page into a fully integrated digital marketing machine. Next up, Section 4, bridging gaps with consultants.
Navigating global trade can get incredibly complex, and that's exactly where the wise guides of our journey come in. We're talking about professional consulting firms like Trade and Investment Bangladesh, or TNDIB, who basically provide a cheat code for market entry. The most vital service they offer is the Export Readiness Assessment. They'll step in and do a comprehensive evaluation of your products, your production capacity, certifications, and documentation. The whole point is to spot your operational gaps before you hit the international market. This assessment is a critical threshold you have to cross so you don't make incredibly costly mistakes out there. You really need to know what you're missing before a buyer points it out for you.
And this brilliantly illustrates exactly how they help. If a manufacturer just cannot find reliable importers, TNIB steps in with targeted buyer-seller matchmaking. Unsure which country to even target, they offer data-driven export market selection. Got weak online visibility? They handle the IT and international digital marketing side. And if you have a fear of overseas fraud, which is totally valid by the way, they perform commercial due diligence. They systematically solve the most intimidating challenges of exporting so you can just focus entirely on what you do best, manufacturing.
Finally, we arrive at Section 5, converting inquiries into orders.
All right, you've got your armor, you've lit your digital beacon, and you found the buyer. Now you have to actually secure the treasure. Here is your strict conversion checklist. First, respond quickly. We're talking well under 24 hours to keep that momentum alive. Second, don't just shoot over a generic price list. Ask smart questions to understand their exact requirements. Third, send a comprehensive, totally transparent quotation. That needs to cover everything from minimum order quantities to those crucial Incoterms we talked about earlier. And fourth, deliver on time and back it up with stellar after-sales service. Being absolutely consistent in these tactical steps is what transforms a one-off buyer into a long-term, highly profitable partner.
I want to leave you with this really powerful thought. The next international buyer is already searching. Make sure they can find you. The global market is vast, and trust me, the opportunities are absolutely real. Finding international buyers isn't about getting lucky anymore. It is a structured process built on readiness, digital visibility, and relationship management. So prepare your business, embrace that strategic export mindset, and step onto the global stage. I want you to look at your production line right now and ask yourself, what is the single biggest gap stopping you from becoming a global exporter today? Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and we'll catch you next time.